Coach Welsh, by the way. I think I've seen or met most of you before. Did everybody get a packet? Did you guys get a packet? That's everybody else though. Coach, you got yours?
That's where I made that one.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I bought that. I made it.
Is it cheap?
All right. And we are videotaping it. Like I said, we've got people that couldn't make it that said they wanted to see it. So, okay. But I'm Coach Welsh. I coach at Arizona Christian. This is my first year. I've actually been in Phoenix since July. My last stop was Florida. Before that was Indiana. So this is my 17th year as a college head coach. This is what I'm wired to do. This is what I love to do. This is how God's kind of made me. You know, I don't do many other things, but this is what I do. So my goal in these, I try to do a coach's clinic every year, wherever I'm at. And I'm here in Phoenix, so that's why it's here. But my goal is to help you guys understand how to coach others. And even for players, you can learn, little things as well. I love teaching the game so that you guys can kind of help teach it to others and make them better. Because really, the more coaches we get on the right page, the better the kids are. We can try to have clinics and impact kids. Don't get me wrong. We want you guys to get better too, but we really need to, get the coaches on that right page and then kind of impact the rest. Here's the thing, I want to cater to this group, so I have that huge packet, God bless you, huge packet. We'll go through a lot of it, but some of it is just articles where I'm like, you know what, if you want to be better at coaching, you'll like this article, save it for later, whatever, So we're not going to go through every single page. The beginning notes are from me, and we'll go through those, but really if this group is kind of like, I want to learn even more about hitting, then we'll do more on hitting, or whatever that is, okay? The other thing is I talk fast. From Chicago, big family, you just got to get it out. So if you need me to repeat, slow down, just ask. Because again, we don't have a room of 200, right? This is our group. So if you're like, hey, can you talk more about that? Hey, what do you mean? I've got a kid that does it this way. Can you help me? So just holler, okay? And like I said, I do talk fast, and I do sometimes jump around. So if you have questions, or just holler. But my goal, though, is to teach you a lot about the game, all areas, but in general, coaching tips, okay? And little things that'll help, okay? So that's the main focus. Is there anything real quick that you guys are like, I hope we go over this, please help me with this? Anything you guys can think of so I make sure we touch it? Okay, we're gonna do it all. We'll do every aspect from mental to practice planning to coaching females to drills, everything, okay? Is that going okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, I need a packet. You don't have to move. You don't have to move. I need a packet. All right, so these sheets I've kind of put together over the years for these kind of clinics. But this first sheet, I put it first because it is like the sheet that we need to go through word by word. There's going to be some where I'm like, hey, that's for you later. This is huge. Okay, so let's talk, and if you notice, I'm not even starting with like pitching or hitting, I'm starting with the mental game. The mental game, how we coach it, players, how we play it, that kind of thing, okay? I put on there the game is 80% mental and 20% physical. Okay, you've all heard that quote, right? It interchange like 70, 30, 90, 10, right? You've all heard it, right? We agree with it. But when we go to practice, what do? Every practice is 100% physical. 100%, isn't it? It's 100%. And then as coaches, we're like, you're mentally weak. You're just not mentally tough. Don't we? Players, you hear that. It's all between the ears. It's between the ears. And it is. It is. But here's the problem. Coaches, this is what we need to do a better job of. Teach them how to be mentally tougher, how to be mentally stronger. Yes, you might say, you're mentally weak. Well, teach them how, or that's all mental, right? But they don't know what that means. It's kind of like the same thing with hitting. You're not using your legs, use your legs. Well, right, we all know that, but teach them how to use their legs. Okay, does that make sense? We can't just yell things, let's teach them. So, if you believe in that quote, you will spend more time on it. You will spend more time with your team on it, okay? This is what I do. I've done it all my past years. I will tell you, this year's gonna be a little different. I'm coming into a group started with 29. They were very undercoached, very, in a way neglected, just from a game standpoint. So I'm just trying to do what I can. So we're not requiring this book this year with my team, but from here on out we are. Like I already told my recruits and my girls for next year, you will be required to have this read. So here's what I do. When I sign a kid, I give them a new copy of this book. I tell them you got to have it read one time through before I get you in August. And then as a team, we read it together. So like on our practice calendar, I might say, okay, this Thursday, have chapters 1 and 7 read, and we'll discuss it in practice. Okay? Then on the practice calendar, it'll say start chapters 14 and 15, and then 2 weeks later we'll discuss it. But what we do when we discuss it, we'll sit in a circle at practice. Sometimes I've done small groups. I do like big groups though, and we'll go through the chapter. We don't have to go page by page, but really it's kind of like my goal is for everybody to share at least one thing from the chapter that they got, because what you got, maybe I didn't get out of it. I'm like, oh, that's really good. Or how are you going to apply that? Then we try to apply it into practice, okay? So this is my copy from like 15 years ago. I got it spiral bound. It's the best $6 I've ever spent. Okay, like Staples, like any of those, because pages were falling out. But what I like about this now is I can spin it, and I don't have to worry about it. So this is what mine looks like. It's what I encourage the girls to look like. What's nice about this book is you don't have to read it in order. You can jump around. Like there's chapters, attitudes, learning, preparation, dedication, goal setting, relaxation, visualization. So you don't have to necessarily read it chronologically. Okay? So that's kind of what we're going to go through. So that's one way that I incorporate it with my girls. Okay? A little bit less this year. We'll start to, add it in next year. But that's one way that I actually try to make it part of practice. And again, after we discuss it, then we're actually talking about how do we incorporate that? How do we work on that tomorrow? Or if we start practice with mental game, I do drills that maybe help with that, okay? And throughout this talk today, we will also throw in there different mental drills, pressure, stuff like that, okay? I put this, do not think and do a skill at the same time. That's what practice is for. Games are easier than practice. Practice game-like and make it faster and way more intense so that you're ready to go in games. Know your age group. You may not need to practice hard, just fun, always moving. So here's the thing. Coaches, try to make practice harder, faster, more intense, and more pressure than a game will ever be. So the game is fun, loose, and you're ready to go. The loose team wins. The same skill, the loose team wins. Beats the tight team anytime. Pitchers get tight, full count, bases loaded. The hitter's thriving on it, right? The loose player wins. The loose team wins. So try to make practice faster and harder and more pressure than a game will ever be. Because pressure really is just an ill-prepared feeling, right? Like if I gave you a very entry-level math test, like a plus 2 plus 2, you don't feel pressure because you already know that you know the stuff, right? But when it's the high-level stuff, you might feel pressure because you're like, I don't know what to do. We need to prepare you for that game. So in practice, do things with stopwatches, do things with timers, do things faster. Think about in our game. In between pitches, there's time. There's enough time to go, hey, run around one. Hey, there's enough time, isn't there? Right? In practice, let's speed it up. So when you're doing situations, and even let them know, hey, we're speeding through situations, so that way you've got to think quicker, so in a game, it'll be easier. So do it speed. Now, I don't ever want you to hear me thinking that speed is ever going to be more, quantity is ever more important than quality. So we're not just doing it, right? We still want quality. If you need to stop to teach, you stop to teach. You take care of something, okay? But let's make sure we're not putting more pressure on them in games. So practice is like, oh, this is so fun, it's practice. Yeah, good job, good try. You'll get it next time. In a game, we're like, where do you get that? Like, let's go. So you guys got to make sure as coaches, are you kind of like an intense, like more intense because a game's on the line than you are in practice? That's not going to do well for your girls, okay? Or whatever sport you're teaching, right? So make sure in practice it's just nose to the grindstone. Like let's just go. Let's get after it. And then games, let them play. Okay, one of the things that I learned as a young coach, I still feel young, but I've been doing this for 17 years, I try to teach too much in games because, and this was my mindset, if I don't tell her, the same play might happen and she won't get it, right? So I wanted to be like, no, move your left foot there, and then if you do this, right? That's my fault. I gotta teach her that in practice, okay? So what I gotta do a better job of, make a note. Okay, we've gotta work on balls to her left, the runner on third. And work on that. I gotta prepare her better, okay? So let's make sure, and this goes for me too, we're teaching a little bit less in games than you probably already are right now. Teach a ton in practice, right? Let the game be fun. It's like in class. A professor's not going to go, oh, hold on from the test. Hey, heads up. Let me teach you this equation. I forgot to teach you this last week. Are they? No, they're not. But we do that, don't we? Remember, we're teachers. Just because it's a sport doesn't make it any different, right? You know, you never see your English teacher like, how did you not know a comma was supposed to be there? Right? But don't we do that to our girls, okay? Me too, all right? But let's try to think of it more as teaching, and when it's time for the test, let the test be easy, fun, and you guys enjoy the game more, as well. So the goal is make sure they're not thinking in the games. Now, obviously, they're thinking like, hey, plays at 1, that kind of stuff, but it's not like overthinking in that box, wherever. Don't worry, we won't take this long on every single thing. All right, I put never give it away at bat or a pitch because you weren't ready mentally, okay? We don't have a shot clock in our sport, right? The ball doesn't go until the pitcher decides to start. If she's not ready, if she's just not feeling it, what's the worst that will happen if you take too long?
A ball.
It's a ball to the batter. Batters, what's the worst that will happen if you take too long?
Strike.
It's a strike. Okay, so sometimes not even the worst thing if you're not ready. Never step into a box, okay, unless you're ready mentally. I've seen too many kids, they're not ready. They just get in there because the pitcher has the ball, the umpire's ready, so I'm not sure the sign, but okay. Do we really want our hitters in that mentality? Like, heck, that's mental, that's controllable. I'm a big believer in the controllables. I control when I step in. I control my mind. So really make sure we're creating and teaching outside the box when we can think. All right, run around third, I'm looking for a pitch outside, blah, 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 right? But the second that this happens, okay, see the ball, hit the ball. See the ball, hit the ball, right? But as coaches from the third base box, we're like, hey, keep your elbow up, hey, make sure you stride big, blah, blah, blah. That has to happen in practice or even a little bit on deck, right? But sometimes we over-teach, we're doing too much. In the box, you see the ball, hit the ball. On that mound, see the target, let's go, okay? So really make sure you kind of create those boundaries for them because it is possible that players that you never lose an at-bat because you weren't ready mentally. My players, they'll do it in practice. We'll do a fast, slow drill. So first one's fast, then slow. And they're just like, oh. It's like, no, you stepped in the box. You chose to take those steps. You knew that was coming fast, but yet you chose to get in there and you weren't ready. Don't get in. I'd rather in that round of a minute and a half station, you only took 2 pitches. You hit 2 pitches, then 5 and weren't ready on 3. So really make sure we're teaching them, don't step in until you're ready, okay? Makes sense? All right, another big thing that I'm big on with the mental side, this is a total mental thing, is perspective. Remember, you get to play. Like, I get to coach. I get to be here. Like, I don't have to be here. You don't have to be here. This is a choice kind of thing. It's with everything. We get to go to school. I know school sometimes stinks. My daughter doesn't want to go back to school tomorrow. But we really get to go. And if you change your perspective, you'll kind of change that mental shift, right? All right, so yeah, then I have on here this book. Great book, super cheap on, I usually get it from walmart.com. All right, the next thing, mindsets. All right, this is what I like to teach my girls, and I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. 1 pitch at a time. All right, this is a game of failure. We all know that. But how many times do kids take an error, a strikeout, a miscue into their next play? Okay, it's pretty common. And that's when us coaches are going, it's mental, like, shake it off, but we're just like yelling at them instead of maybe teaching them 1 play at a time. So we can tell them, I can tell you 1 pitch at a time, 1 pitch, and my coach loves saying 1 pitch at a time. Let's practice it. What if we practiced drills that were 1 pitch and done? You either succeed or you fail. Now that's pressure. Can you imagine doing some of those drills in practice? Guess what? When you get into that game, you've been there before, right? So sometimes we haven't done it as much this fall. We'll do it more this spring, but we'd like to end practice with 5 pressure plays, okay? So I'll have a full defense, okay? And I will pick who I want hitting, and I will pick the scenario. So say if I know you really need to work on your sag bunts, I'm going to put a runner on 1. I'm going to say, all right, she's got to get it. Bree, right? No, Avery. Avery's she's got to work on her bunts. So if she gets it down, all good. If not, then you think of something. Maybe the team has 20 push-ups or a sprint or something to where now you feel pressure to get it down. It's not just like, oh, I hope. I mean, in practice, how many times are we just hoping? Well, I hope I did. Oh, that stinks if I didn't. No, make it stink. Make it stink bad. Especially if your teammates have to run for you. That sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. Like if you have to run for yourself, you're like, I owned it, I missed the bunt. When your teammates have to run, you know, and then what's worse, when I say, Avery, if you don't get your bunt down, you don't run, they run for you. That's the worst. That's the worst when your team has to do 15 push-ups and you count for them, but you don't do them. Oh, right? So here's the thing. Can you imagine? That drill didn't take any longer. Hey, 15 push-ups, if Avery doesn't get the bunt down, she doesn't do them, but everybody else does, and here we go. Boom, 0-0 count. Maybe it's a ball. Maybe it takes a minute because there's a few other pitches, but she's either going to get it down or she's not with a consequence. So we just put her in a pressure situation. We just put that pressure on her. So guess what? Next week when she's in that position, she's been there before. She's got that bunt down, okay? Or she knows what that feeling feels like. We have to reenact that, okay? So then what I might do, I might have 4 other hitters go and give them different scenarios too. But what I started doing at my last school was at the end of every practice, because we're already warm, we're already loose, we're already out there, I would do 3 to 5 person pressure drills, and I would have different people do it. And I wasn't one of those, I mean, this is college. I wasn't one that's like, okay, you 5 already have gone, okay, it's your turn. No, you know what? She still hasn't got her butt down. She's going again. You know, if it's a kid that I need something out of, like, let's go. Or I might say pitchers, if they get a hit off you, pitching and catching staff has to run or something like that. So make sure we're creating that in practice. But that right there, it takes that drill would take 10 minutes tops to have 5 batters go through a live scenario. So make sure we're if we really do believe in one pitch at a time, how are we implementing that in practice? Okay, so what kind of drills are we doing to make it one pitch at a time? And I just put kind of the mindset. So defense, assume the ball will be hit to you rather than it won't be hit. Right? We all know that our players are more confident when they want the ball hit to them versus I just made an error, please don't hit it to me, kind of thing. Hitting, yes, yes, yes. See the ball, hit the ball. Pitching, see the target, throw the ball. So really start working on those phrases, that mentality. Otherwise, it all just clumps together. And honestly, all of your batting averages, all of your defense, every stat will go up if you can break it down one pitch at a time. But again, as coaches, let's emphasize that, talk about it, make drills accordingly. The other thing you could do is if you're ever doing like kind of like scrimmage scenarios, instead of doing it like the whole game, do an inning, like we won the inning. Then there's consequences at the end of the inning. And that'll teach them kind of some urgency, as well. All right, this is big. Coaches, do not have negative talk. I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, everybody, right now, do not think about purple elephants. Don't think about purple elephants. And don't think about purple elephants with pink stripes. Don't do it. Don't think about it. I told you not to, but you thought about it, right? You see it. The reality is our brain, our body, does not interpret the word don't or not. We still hear and see what I told you not to see, right? So what we gotta make sure we do when we got to that mound. All right, Madison, you're doing great. Listen though, just don't walk her, and we're good. Like, just don't walk her, no problem, right? Like, I'm pretty positive, right? Don't, right? What's going on in her head is just don't walk her. You know what I mean? So you hear the walk kind of thing. Instead, you have to shift your words. Madison, you're good. You got her the last 2 times. Just keep doing what you're doing. We're going to stay low and away. If we have to go up and in, we will. But just hit your spots low and away. You got defense behind you. We'll get you out of this. See the difference, right? Or how many times, hey, don't drop your hands. We got to change that. But we have to train ourselves to change that. Even as teammates, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up, right? So let's really stop saying those words don't, because don't drop your hands. You can't not think about purple elephants with pink stripes. You know, don't think about it, right? So let's make sure we're taking out the don't, okay? Don't think about the consequence or about others' expectations. Example, coaches and parents. There's a whole chapter on here on expectations. Whether you guys realize it or not, a lot of players play maybe for the wrong reasons. I play because me and my dad, that's maybe my dad's bond. That's what we do. I play because it's giving me a scholarship. I play because, well, I played for 12 years. I don't know what else to do, right? Let's make sure, too, don't be afraid to have some of those one-on-one conversations to get to know your players. to know what's making them tick. You'll get more out of them when you know. Okay? Now, some of them at the college level, their answer may be, this is paying my school, this is what I have to do. You know what? I don't really want to coach those kids. I want kids with passion that want to be there, that love the game. But there's a reality why kids are where they are. So just make sure you're getting to know them and know their whys. Coaches do learn. That's why you guys are here. Never stop learning. Have fun. And like I just talked about, learn what motivates each player individually. After an error, a strikeout, pregame, and pre-practice. So one thing that I like to do with my teams is about a week before the first game starts, we kind of sit around and we talk about, okay, what motivates you pregame, especially on the road, like when we're on a bus. And then what motivates you, what do you need after a strikeout or an error? Okay? And then we talk about it as a group because like maybe what Stacy needs is not what I need. You know? Like there's some girls that it's just like, I just need a few more minutes. And here's what I tell them. I don't know that I'm going to give you minutes. Minutes seems short, but minutes is kind of long. Here's what I might do. This is my what I'll give you if you're a kind of kid after a strikeout that doesn't want to talk to anybody. You know what? I respect that. Okay? I give you until your helmet comes off. So if your helmet's on, now still, if somebody gives you a high five, slap their hand. But what we also try to do is, if you're a kind of kid that's like, I really don't want high fives, I try to get my other girls to understand that. It's not a mean thing. It's not personal. I just would prefer not a high five after a strikeout. So if you can remember that about me, you know. But I tell my girls, if she puts her hand up, give her a high five. But a lot of girls just need their helmet, put their helmet up, and then I expect them, okay, next play. All right, next batter. All right, but everybody's different. Some kids need instruction. They might say, after a strikeout, coach, I want you to tell me what I did wrong. Like some people they have two people I got to go to. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here. That's what I need. I don't need anybody else telling me. Because you know there's some kids, you don't want Sally telling this girl what she did wrong. Like that doesn't work. But maybe she does. Maybe they're best friends and she's like, man, Sally has helped me through the whole time. So I need either Sally or a coach. That's what I want. Some girls might say, I want just encouragement. Just give me encouragement, right? But everybody's different. And then even pre-games, everybody's different. I'm a talker, right? I'm not a music person. So I'm like, hey, let's talk about the game. Hey, this team's got this. I was a catcher, I was a shortstop, so it's talking to my pitchers. Some people are headphones, and that's fine. Some people are studying the scouting report. Some people are talking. Some people are, it doesn't matter. But it's kind of important to know that because you can really tick somebody off if they're a quiet music person. And then as a coach, you're like, get your headphones off. We're going. Now, set the expectations ahead of time. Hey, no headphones once warm-up start. Okay? But what if that's what motivates them? This game is all about feel. Am I right? When we feel good, let's go. You know, when you're hitting well, you know that's a watermelon coming. Like you could hit anything, any pitcher. Like let's go, right? But that girl had to get in her routine. She had to get in her habit. All right. So that's what we do. It wouldn't be bad for you guys to know what pumps people up. Like I told you earlier, I'm not a music person, but a lot of people are. So I have to be okay with loud music pumping for pregame. Like I'm not a music person at all. Okay. But if that's what gets them going, if their walk-up song means that much, play your walk-up song. Do you know what I'm saying? But that didn't motivate me. But as coaches, guys, what motivates you might not motivate them, and vice versa. And you have to be okay with that. I had a high school coach who it was her way. Nobody else could have a way, and she didn't really get the most out of us. Isn't our goal to get the most out of our kids? We gotta find what makes them tick, what motivates them, what breaks those walls down. That's what we've got to find out. Okay? You all love playing for the coaches that allow you that freedom. You did not like playing for the coaches that were like, you can't do that, right? So learn them. Okay? The other thing too is even after an error. What does a player need after an error? Okay? Sometimes they need instructions. Sometimes they need get the heck away. But what do they need? But talk through it with them because you want it to be realistic too. If they're like, well, I need this, and that, you're like, well, that's not going to happen. So we'll just take you out, you know. But yeah, then I put make sure you're encouraging. Make sure you remind them of specific past successes, especially females. They love that. Hey, don't you remember last year at the conference tournament? You were down 0-2. You drew that walk. You stole second. Then you scored on blah, blah, blah. What does that do? I mean, that right there, even though I wasn't even talking about you guys, weren't you like, yeah. Right? So now they're up to batter. Man, you remember when you jacked that home run with bases loaded, you know, last week? Remember in practice when you took me yard, you know what I mean? You give them specifics, all you just did right then was like, they're like, oh yeah, let's go, right? Okay, because sometimes, let's be honest, when we like the mound, it's like, what do I say? You know, I gotta change the mood, and it's tough. So make sure we have some specific past successes ready for them. And the other thing, coaches, if you know what motivates your girls, some girls need that all the time. And you know what? That might frustrate you. Like, you know when you have a player who's just nothing like you, and you would have never done her choices, so she kind of frustrates you. You know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like, oh, I don't know if I can coach her. Once we realize, because I'm not there yet, they're not me, you're going to be a better coach. They're not me, okay? They didn't grow up like you grew up. Your work ethic is different, but that's why you're coaching, right? We don't have thousands of coaches. We have 3 coaches per team. You know what I mean? So get past the idea that they're not you, they don't think like you, they'll never be you, so coach them where they're at and coach them up. Get them excited about wanting more, right? That was one of the things I had to learn early on, you know, as a college coach as well. It's one of my biggest weaknesses, still might be, is they don't think like I think, they don't act like I act, they don't work like I work. But then I have to remember, I love this game, I'm a freak. Nobody matches that. They can't match it. You know, maybe I get 1 or 2 that tried, and that's awesome. But I gotta remember, like, we didn't grow up the same. Like, it's a little different. So keep that in mind, otherwise you'll be frustrated the rest of your career. And players, that goes for your teammates too. Why doesn't she want to put in the extra work? They just might not want to. Maybe they like something else more than you do. And you just gotta get the most out of them in the moments that you can, and you gotta be okay. You know what I mean? We can't make everybody have the same passion we do. That's why I like coaching at the college level, because I get to pick who's on my team. I think even at the travel ball level, you guys can make cuts, and you can say no to certain people. But for those going to college, it's really important. Like, you pick who you play for, you pick who your teammates are, you pick travel ball who you play for, who your teammates are. So if you want what I was talking about, you gotta try to find that, you know. Okay, next page. Remember, being perfect all the time is an unattainable goal. You can practice perfection, but do not expect it, okay? So here's the thing. How many times in games, though, do we expect perfection? It's actually a lot. We get frustrated when it doesn't happen. We've got to be a little bit more realistic, but here's what I do want you guys to do is practice perfection in drills, in practice, and put consequences on it, because again, that's pressure. All right, so a drill that I love is just any number, but 50 in a row. All right, 50 in a row. So what we're doing is, like, say you're all at your position, and we've got coaches who are just machine gunning it, right? So we're just like, boom here, boom, 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 okay? We've got another girl basically recording, and your goal is to get 50 cleanly in a row, okay? Or you can do 20, depending on your time. Maybe do 25, I don't know, whatever you guys want to do, okay? But they're keeping track, so then every 10, they holler to the scribe, you know, they might say, all right, Sally, Coach Welsh plus 10. So she doesn't have to look up and watch you, she's just recording it, okay? But think about it. If you guys know, when you take grounders in practice, you want to do well, but you're just taking them, you're going through the motions. The second that a coach says, hey, 25 in a row, you got to get there. All of a sudden you look like this. It's like totally different. Before you're like, okay, cool. Now you're like, let's go, right? And coaches, you were motivated that way too. I mean, we went hard, but the second you made a competition, oh, let's go. Like, I'll get to 25 before you, and you. Let's go. Do you know what I'm saying? But guess what? It's still grounders. It's still drills. Make it a competition. Put that number on it. All of a sudden, you got them more focused. You put pressure. You're asking them to practice perfectly. You're not expecting them to practice perfectly. You're just saying, let's practice it. And in a game, that pressure will be a lot less because then they've been there before. Hey, remember yesterday when you got 50 in a row? Want this ball. Get 51 right here. Hey, 51. Or even maybe, I've never done this, and maybe even as a team, keep tracking games. So, hey, we didn't make any errors last game. We're at 14. All right, let's get 15. Let's get 15. You know, and then let's go. Now, you got to be careful. Make sure you're practicing that, because if all of a sudden you implement that, girls are going to get nervous. Like, oh, no, if I mess up in a game, and the team's going to be mad at me. So you may not want to do that in a game until they're ready for that. Does that make sense? But practice is a good time to do it, okay? Let's see. Don't focus on the result when you're specific. Oh, this is a good one. When you're specifically working on a technique, okay? So let me give you an example. Pitchers. Let's say we're working on keeping our hand inside the ball, I don't know, whatever, okay? Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the result when you're working on a technique. The second they give a catch or squat, what's that pitcher focusing on? Throwing a strike. Throwing a strike. No, but we're not focusing on a strike. We're focusing. Okay? So when you want to work on a technique, take away the result. Put up a bow net. Put it right there. Give them a bucket of balls. Why not just have them throw into a net? Why do we need a whole other person doing nothing? They're not getting that much better. Have them go do something else. Net. Okay? Too many times we have an outcome, a receiver, they're going to focus on strikes. Okay? So if you're working on a technique, don't worry about that. Sometimes I tell my catchers, hey, stand up. I don't want her focusing on strikes. Just stand up. Right? Then the pitchers don't have to worry about throwing this perfect pitch. Okay? And preferably just throw it into a net. Okay? Or even with the tee, even with hitting. I'm really working on my extension. Well, who cares if I popped up? Did I extend through? Yeah, you didn't see the ball well, but like we're not working on seeing the ball well right now. So make sure, as coaches, if you're doing a drill that is for something, we're not then correcting something else. Hey, well, you got to see it. Well, right, but I'm working on extension. So I'm working on seeing it. Well, how many things can you work on at the same time? One of my weaknesses when I first started was I wanted to help in every area. So say if I had a hitting lesson and I saw like 4 things wrong with the kid, I wanted to just tell her all 4 things because I felt like if I didn't, I wasn't doing her like that justice and I wasn't like doing my job and I need to let her know that, man, there's more wrong. Well, really, that wasn't helping her to focus on 4 things. So just one thing at a time, get great at that, then work on the next. And sometimes when you get good at one thing, it corrects some other things too. There's some things in the swing, you work on one little hitch, it fixed everything else, okay? So make sure when we're working on technique, we're not working on the outcome. There's a drill we do, letting the ball get deep, okay? It'd be great to have a great throw, don't get me wrong. But I'm not working on the throw, because if I was working on the throw, the girls probably wouldn't let it get deep. They'd probably take more time, they'd take more steps, they'd work on accuracy, but we weren't working on accuracy. So you see, if I try to make them, if I get mad at their throws, they're not gonna work on what they're working on. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so make sure if you're working on a technique, do not focus on the results, on the outcome of the next play. Focus on what you're working on. And use nets, utilize nets. Those can be replacements for coaches and for bodies too, okay? So get creative. All right, this is a big one too. If you don't, these are the main big takeaways. Do not yell at somebody for something you did not teach them, okay? Don't yell at them if you didn't teach them first. I was at a game, this happens all the time, especially with finding the fence. So a fence is scary when you're running, okay? So, the kid will not get there and then drop it, and the coach is yelling and yelling. And my first thought is, did that coach teach that girl how to find the fence? Because that's a drill. You got to teach them how to, there's technique to that, right? When they don't get their bunts down. That's frustrating, okay? But how much time do we spend on bunting and teaching them to get it down? Or we're just mad. Because we expect them to be able to get a bunt down. Don't get me wrong, but guess what? The coach before expected them to get the bunt down, and the coach before expected them to get the bunt down. I'm a college coach. I should be able to expect my girls to get the bunt down. Right? I should. But here's the reality. Nobody's practicing it enough. Nobody's doing it enough. My son, who's 10, put a bunt down in a game. Third baseman was so far back. Bad thing was my son bunted a little bit too much to the pitcher, so he was out. Coaches are mad. It's just like, oh, like they weren't mad that he bunted to the pitcher, they were mad that he bunted in general. They didn't give him the sign. They didn't give me a sign. Dude, my goal was to get on base, and I saw an opening. No. I told Eli, I'm like, dude, if you would have, put it where you're supposed to, it's a little bit better, but don't worry, you did the right thing. Just, get it, but like, he's getting criticized for bunting, and there was one time in practice he was putting some bunts down, and another kid put some bunts down. I heard the coach go, why is everybody bunting? I'm like, okay, these are 10-year-old kids. They barely work on bunting, because they should bunt, that you gotta get them better at bunting, So here's the thing, we get mad because they don't get their bunts down, right? But how much time are we spending with them? Same with mental kid. It's all mental, she's a mental midget. How much time are you spending with her? And you might have to take her to the side and say, hey, I got a book for you to read, and let's talk about it once a week. Let's talk. I'll read it with you. Hey, I've got some podcast I want you to listen to. I'll listen to it and let's talk. I'll call you into it. You know what I mean? Are you spending time with that kid, or are we just mad because they didn't get it, right? So make sure you don't yell at somebody for something you not only haven't taught them, but really haven't worked with them on. Okay? Does that kind of Kind of makes sense, you know? So make sure we teach, and also don't assume that they know something. Don't assume they know something, all right? Because I'm even finding, especially with base running, we'll talk about base running, you guys know I love base running. We get mad, God bless you. I see coaches yell at kids for not running well, but that coach also isn't practicing base running with them. So, ever, you know? All right, the other thing, don't make it step by step. I put bucket dads on there. Let them figure things out. We don't want robots. It's one of my least favorite things in this game is robots, and there's more and more robots happening, and I'm just so frustrated with it. Remember, that's what makes the game fun. I love coaching this sport. I love this sport because it's gray. It's gray. It's not black and white. I mean, the ball, you know, the rule says the ball's got to get to first before the girl, but there's no rule that says how. If a shortstop rolls the ball to first, and she picks it before the girl gets there, she's out, right? There's just gray. There's gray on how to do it, how to get it there. I love that because the gray is if I can be a better coach, I can beat a team with the same players because of the gray, because of those things. That's what I love. So let's stop making it step by step. I'd say about 10 or 12 years ago, I went to a clinic in Chicago, and man, I think our Chicago representation here is pretty good. Anybody? We got us 4. Anybody else? That's all right. I feel good with 4. I like it. So I was at a coaching clinic in Chicago, and Sue Enquist was the amazing coach at UCLA. She's just phenomenal, right? She gets up there and starts talking about hitting, okay? She broke it down into about 13 steps, and I'm in this room, long room full of travel coaches, high school coaches, college coaches. I just see people like putting their heads down. I see people like struggling, like it was like teaching chemistry to a kindergartner. And it was. She started using pretty big words and all these steps. And she even told us, she goes, oh yeah, my girls, you know, we do 2 hours a day of stationary work with no ball. So these girls, these UC, and they were winning national championship, don't get me wrong, but I love the game, and when she was talking, I'm like, that does not sound fun. That does not sound fun. I'd rather come in second and have fun than do that and be a robot. They did 2 hours every day of just like step-by-step drills, and then they had like a 4-hour practice. And I loved this game, and that did not sound fun to me, but here's the thing, she also had the top 15 elite athletes in the world, okay? So they're just at a different level. We don't have that. We're never gonna have that. But here's the thing, don't make it step-by-step. We don't want it step-by-step, okay? We don't want to go, okay, so my hand, okay, and then, okay, if I do this, and then I do that, okay, right? That's not fun. That's why we lose a lot of boys and girls at a young age, because baseball's boring, it's slow, right? Let them get their hacks in. There's some hitters you shouldn't even touch. If they're seeing the ball, hitting it hard somewhere, just let them go, right? We are breaking it down too much, okay? I'll give you another example. So you guys have all seen like on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you know those like little kids, girl, boy, 5 to 7, and you just see them taking that wiffle ball from their dad, and they just stroke it. I mean, it's just beautiful. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay, have those kids been taught? No. How do they know how to do that? They know how to do that because when they pick up the wiffle ball bat and they swung, say if they didn't move their feet, they swung, the ball didn't go very far, okay? If they took their eye off of it, they didn't see it. What these 5 to 7-year-olds are learning, 8, whatever age, I've seen like 2-year-olds on Instagram, they're just like, boom, right? Nobody's teaching them. What they're doing is they're realizing, oh, if I angle my hips this way, if I step this way, that ball goes 10 feet further. Okay, wow, if I just do this, that ball goes over my backyard. Okay, 5-year-olds figure that out. There's not a person going, hey, turn your hip, hey, hand, hey, this. And so when I listen to Sue Enquist, we talk about these steps, I'm just like, this is not hitting. This is not what we want to be doing. Okay, so make sure you're not step by step. The other analogy is the pitcher. The pitcher who is throwing to her dad in practice, in her lesson, and has either the pitching coach or her dad, after every pitch, looks right at him. My arm speed was down? Okay. Wrist net? Okay. And every pitch, what do they get in that habit of? They don't think for themselves. They don't feel it. That's why kids aren't feeling it anymore, because we need the automatic, yes, what did I do? Yes, sir. Okay? And they're coachable, they're hardworking kids, they're not defiant, but they're not learning crap. They're learning how to be a robot. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Whatever happened to the field? Whatever happened about taking a ball off of a wall and, oh, that ball went in? Okay, it worked. Oh, that felt good. Oh, that was good. Where is that? But here's what it is. It's not that we're bad coaches, it's that we want so badly to help. So, oh, you did this, right? Well, this is what we need to start doing. What'd you feel? What'd you feel? How'd that feel? Okay, go again. No, you're good. And when they start looking at you, just say, stop looking at me, like just go. Because I'll see, I've been watching my son's games, I see the picture afterwards, they're always looking at their dad, like every pitch, and I'm like, stop looking at your dad, like stop. But we've trained them to do that. We've trained it. We've over-taught, we've over-trained. The little 5-year-old wasn't taught, right? He just felt it, okay? So let's make sure we pull back on the step-by-step. Let them feel it. Hey, how'd that change-up feel? Throw it 10 more times and then tell me. Can we really tell after one new thing anyway, right? Hey, put a knuckle on the ball. How'd that feel? No. 10, throw it 10. I'm gonna go check on her. I'll be back. Okay, you threw 10. How'd it feel? Let them figure it out. One of the most fun things about pitching, and you can probably agree with this, is just messing around. Like putting different grips and just being like, oh yeah, you pitched, right? Almost just like, let's just try this. What if I did this? What if I did this? That's the fun. That's why we do what we do. Same with hitting. Okay, it's okay to let them mess around, like try different things. All right, so let's make sure we're not going step by step, but we're letting them feel. Hey, what do you think there? Where do you think the ball should have went? You know, get them thinking. Instead, we're like, the ball should have went to 2 because of this. Hey, what did you think? Well, I think this. Okay, well let's talk about this. She's really fast. Like I had a girl, runner on second. This was last year. Runner on second, lefty up. Little pop-up dinker over like short and third. Okay, so what happens when a lefty pops up a ball, fair territory, when it hits, what happens? Who knows? A lefty hitter, left to my lefties, where does the ball kick? Kicks foul, right? Just the spin. You guys know what I'm talking about now? Okay, so I had a girl on second. So here, I got a girl on second, I know my lefty's up, I see this, I know it's landing, okay? I'm like, hey, come on, go, right? My runner gets to third, slows up, looks, and then goes. I had her going the whole time. I had her going off contact. I knew that ball was down, and I knew which way I was going to kick. I had her going. She stops. She looks for herself. So I talked to her afterwards. She's like, well, I just didn't know. I didn't think of 7 minutes. I'm like, that's why you have me. I'm like, did you know, it was a lefty up and the ball kicks. Oh, I didn't think about that. Right. You didn't think about it. I think about that, right? So you got to trust. So I'm trying to build, hey, trust me with what I'm doing. But the thing is, I'm going to take the opportunity to teach you, hey, when a lefty's up and the ball goes over here, it's going to kick. When I played slow pitch after my career was over, I would let it get deep intentionally. I would inside out it intentionally because I always put the worst player in right in slow pitch. They did. Co-ed slow pitch, they put the worst girl. I would inside out it, and I would get it fair, and I knew it would kick. Almost a double, if not a triple every time. That's how my career in slow pitch, right? So you gotta help them understand the game too, because we're creating robots who don't know some of these things. Like it's amazing what some of you guys don't know. You gotta watch baseball on TV, watch softball on TV. Maybe make it their homework, coaches. Say, hey, everybody has to watch 30 minutes. I'll see you guys in a week. You gotta watch 30 minutes of baseball or softball. If there's something on TV, find some old games on YouTube, okay? And I want you to bring me back 10 bullet points on what you learned. Have we thought about doing that? That would be good, right? That would be a good idea just because we need to get them watching, thinking, strategizing, okay? So stop making it step by step and give them some feel and some thinking to it, okay? Another thing too, see what they do first and then teach. I've had some really good hitters who I would never film and let people know that they're like my hitter. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the swing is not anywhere remotely close to a good swing, but she sees the ball well and she has good timing and she gets the job done, but it's ugly, right? Are you really going to change her and make her better? If she's getting the job done, keep letting her do what she's doing. I had a slapper that came to me the fall of her freshman year. Her footwork was not good, okay? But I said, you know what? I'm going to let her have the fall. I'm going to give her the fall her way, and then we'll take the whole winter. This was up when I was in Indiana, so we had a longer winter, good winter. So I knew I'd have time to change her over, okay, and to clean up her footwork. She dominated with her footwork. It was self-taught, ugly, not good, not anything I would write down or video. She was an NAIA All-American because she was fast. It worked for her. She got the bunts down. I mean, she was awesome. But just think of how it had changed her from the get-go. How How many people do we want to change from the get-go, right? There's some pitchers that do some funky stuff that we know aren't the most powerful things. But changing them actually takes away power because they just either can't get it or that's just how they were trained. So there's some stuff we've got to be careful that we're always just trying to change. See what they do first. See what they do, all right? Then do that. I take a couple of weeks with my team. I take at least a full week. It's very hard. All right, so I want to see what you guys do. Just let me see what you do. And it's hard. So I'm like, hey, do this with your glove. But it's like, okay, just making notes. But don't be afraid to see what somebody does before we coach them, especially with individual lessons. How badly do we want to give them their money's worth? You know what I mean? Like, man, the mom's right there. If I don't say anything, she's not going to come back. You know, but you got to say, hey, listen, I'm evaluating you right now. Like, I don't want to change something that's not broke. Okay? So just be aware of what we're changing and why. Are you really going to make them better? I had a kid that didn't stride. I'm a big fan of the stride. But her batting average at her JUCO was really good. But I tested her, I tried, I'm like, oh, we can always go back to the no stride. But I kind of messed her up a little bit. And she still had a good career with me, but if I could go back, I wouldn't have touched her. Okay? And so there's some hitters you got to stop touching. All right? I used to teach corporate hitting. I used to say, okay, team, okay, today we're going to learn my whole philosophy on hitting, right? I've stopped doing that in the last maybe handful of years because here's the thing, I might have stud hitter here that when I teach something, she might interpret it even a wrong way, change something and actually be worse. So what I do is there's a handful of things that I teach to everybody that are universal. And then a lot of times I'm just like, okay, what does Stacy need? What do we need? What do we need? Right? Because what works for her may not work for her. Slappers too. I mean, I might tell a slapper, I want you to focus on this. Do not listen to this. You know, kind of thing. There's some drills with my righties, I'm like, slappers, it doesn't affect you. You know what I mean? So make sure we're careful on our corporate teaching. Okay? Because remember, the goal is to get the most out of our kids. Right? Sometimes it's individual. Just like with learning school, learning anything. Okay? Just like with our parents. If you guys have brothers and sisters, you maybe have been parented differently than your brother or sister. Sometimes you're frustrated by that, but really your parents are trying to get the most out of you and then them as well. Okay? I put make it fun, instill competitiveness. So that's really catered, I mean, that's how I feel. I think it's pretty true. So if you were to ask me what motivates me with this sport, two things. When things are fun, when they're competitive. Okay? I love, if a drill is fun and if it's competitive, I'm all in. If the game, so I try to make that, you know, with my team, with the game. And I think you guys are probably molded that way as well. When it's not fun, guys, that's when they lose their perspective and like, get to be here. I have to go. I've got to go to practice. I've got to go to weights, right? When you make it fun and when you make it competitive, and guys, competition could be the difference of, all right, in weights, I'm going to put you in groups of 3, and the group that increases their max the most in 2 weeks gets, and it could be a t-shirt, it could be gets out of conditioning. Like, and sometimes they don't have to get anything, they just want to win, right? So, I mean, you guys are motivated by competition, am I right? Okay? So think about that. What if from now on you made everything a drill and everything in practice, like, not a drill, everything a competition? Because I'm telling you, the second you get that stopwatch out, they're like, let's go, right? The second you get that clipboard, it's like they just change, you know? So let's do that all the time. And maybe what you can do is like a weekly competition. So like everything we do is a competition. At the end, we have a winner, and the 3 winners get this or get something. So then it's like over time, right? They're going to be motivated by that, okay? With pitchers, practice can be very boring. We don't always just want them always just to throw a bullpen, right? So do competitions, okay? I'll have some in there, but one that we really like is just +3, -3, okay? So +3 is a win, -3 is a loss. Let's go for 40 minutes and tell me your record at the end. So to get a plus, basically your catcher calls a pitch and a location. If you hit it, it's +1, okay? If you miss it, it's -1. So you start at 0. So you go, hey, I got it, +1, oh, missed, 0. Got it, +1, got it, +2, oh, missed. So if you get to -3, you lost. That game's over. If you get to +3, you won, okay? So then we did this in the hitting facility that we were using in the fall. So my pitchers were doing that. Then I'd go over to my hitters, check on them. Hey, what's your record? 1-1, 4-0. And the thing is, you could be on the same game for the whole 40 minutes because you could just be up at like +2, +1, +2, 0. Like you could just be teetering, right? Or you could just dominate and get it. So, one girl was at like 7-1, one girl was 4-0, So they love that. So think about it. That was, they're throwing their pitches, catchers are calling, they're doing everything that would happen in a bullpen, but now you just made it a competition. Now they're like, let's go. You can play pig, okay? So it's me, and you tell me your first name again? Haley. So you're like, hey, screwball up and in. And if I hit it, you gotta hit it. Then if I don't, you guys know what pig is in basketball, right? I don't want to assume. Renoso, you don't know pig?
No.
Isn't it horse?
Horse. Or horse.
Yeah.
It's a
Horse.
small version of horse. Do you know what horse is?
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. So you can play horse. So, but same thing. So it could be like, hey, change up misses low. If you execute, they got to execute. So that's kind of fun. So again, they're working on their pitches. They're finding, they're getting better, at that. So another one we do is you tell them the 3 pitches they want, and they have to throw it successfully. So like if I say, all right, change up for a strike, screwball for a ball, curveball for a strike. So they start with the first one. If they get it, they get to go to the second pitch. They get it, they get to go to the third pitch. And if they're all effective, that's a point. Okay? If they don't get any of them, they got to start back at this one. So whatever you want them working on the most, have that be the first thing. Okay? Or if they're really struggling, give them their best pitch first to get some confidence. Okay? So all of those 3 things, they still threw all their pitches, but man, that was way more fun than just going through the motions of their pitches. And it mixed up the pitches. We're all good when we can throw 15 screwballs. Curve, 15 curve. Yeah, your curve gets good after number 7. But in a game, you throw it 1 at a time. Let's make sure we're not throwing 7 at a time as very much, right, in practice. Okay? I'm telling you though, make it competitive. Make it competitive. Find a way. Make it competitive. Think about what you would have liked if you were a player for you. Okay? If you're like, yeah, that drill's kind of boring. Well, let's make it fun. Let's make it competitive. Okay? Be organized. We're going to talk about practice planning here in a second. I do like this. I put coaching boys versus coaching girls. So girls don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. All right? So you could come in and you know everything about pitching, everything about hitting, but if they don't think that you care about them as a person, you don't have them. You haven't lost them, you just haven't won them over yet. Okay? So when coaching girls, when you guys are trying to get through to your teammates better, get to know them. Let them know that you care. Because if you're just like, hey, we need to get better, guys. What? None of us are staying after. They're going to be like, who does she think she is, right? No. You need to care about them. Hey, what's up? What are you doing this weekend? How are you? I haven't seen your parents at the games. Is everything going okay? Right? Like, get to know your players. Get to know your teammates. When you get to know them and they know that you care, you can start talking to them about anything with softball, and they're good. Where boys, it's funny. I put boys feel good when they play good. Girls play good when they feel good, right? So guys have to get the hit and they're like, oh yeah, I'm good now. Girls, to get the hit, have to feel good, right? I think that sucks, okay? I have 6 older brothers. I was basically raised like a boy, so I think like a boy. But the reality is, if it's true, I gotta make sure she feels good. You know the girl that just, something happened, she comes to practice and she's just glazed over. It would be easy for us to get frustrated, like, oh, she's not even all here. Like, what the heck? What's going on? She doesn't even care. We gotta pull her aside. Hey, are you okay? Hey, if you need to step away, like, you need to let her know that you're there, you care, and then get her to feel good. That's when you'll get the most out of her. Okay? But guys, they just need to, like, hit that ball, get a hit, and that's all they care about. Then they'll feel good after that. For the most part. Okay? Know your why. Okay? Know why you coach. Why do you teach? All right. It's funny. I put side note: teach bunting, teach hit and run, reading balls, hitting with 2 strikes. Make sure we're teaching that, right? We get frustrated with people with 2 strikes, but how much are you guys working on that in practice? Okay. So one thing that I do with my hitters is we always have a count. Okay. Because think about in a game, will you ever not have a count? You always have a count, even if it's 0-0. But how many times in practice do we just hit? Right? We just hit, don't we? Okay. Here's what I try to train my girls. Whenever it's a live ball, I consider a live ball anything coming at you. So front toss, live, machine, any ball coming at you is live, have a count. Unless you're specifically working on something, then that's fine. But other than that, have a count. And don't always pick 0-0. Okay, now pick it a lot because you're there at least once. every at bat, okay? But if you struggle with 2 strikes, work on, all right, 2 and 2, right? And the thing is, what I tell my girls is you don't have to then, attack that pitch like you're 2 and 2 and then go, okay, I gotta think of a totally different one. You can keep with the same count the entire practice, the entire drill, for 10, however many you want to do. Don't feel like you have to change it all the time. But think about it, the more comfortable you get with 0-2, with 2-2, full count, 3 and 1, I get frustrated when my girls are 3 and 1, 2 and 0, and foul off a pitch. I don't understand that. It's 3 and 1, it's 2 and 0. You're looking for one pitch and you foul it off, like that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? But I've got to get them better at understanding what pitch they want in those counts, seeing the ball. So we have them do counts that way in a game. I can say, hey, you've been here before. Hey, you've been here before. Here we go. Because they have. They've been there multiple times, right? Otherwise, if they don't have a count, you guys are you're just hitting. Pitcher, same thing. You're just pitching. Can you imagine if you, for the most part, pitched with a count in mind?
Do you recommend that like for pregame at bats too?
Yes. Have a plan with pregame. Now, the first 5, just get loose, just see the ball. So have a plan. First 5, I'm just gonna see the ball. See where it's pitched, hit it where it's pitched. Okay. Maybe first 2 bunts. First 5, see the ball. Okay. Now I'm gonna work on 0-0. Now I'm gonna work on 0-2. Yes. Yep. And especially if you're not as confident in one or the other, get that confident, I had a girl who always took the first pitch, 95% of the time. So it didn't make sense for her to work 0-0. We never really had, we had her work 0-0 occasionally, so that when teams picked up that she took, she could crush that first pitch strike. Because what started to happen, even in practice, we'd do inter squads, we just do a fastball down the middle for her. Because she just took. Finally, she's like, I knew you guys were going to do that, and she just crushed one. And we're like, yes! But until she did that, I'm throwing that fastball, I'm getting ahead. Okay, so she rarely worked 0-0. She worked a lot of 0-1. Because you know what I mean? But she felt great with 2 strikes. Okay? But you know how there's girls, do you know what your girls feel good on? Do you know what count you like and don't like? What count do you hate?
I hate 3 and 2.
You hate full count.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pressure there, right? So what we need to be doing with you is tons of full count scenarios. Because here's what's happening. Here's what I'm seeing. If you don't have a count, have you noticed this? Girls swing at everything. Anything close. When they have a count, you might have taken that pitch because it was a ball, right? Or if you're 0-2, you might have swung because it's too close to take. If you're 3-1, you definitely take. But I had a girl, and I was pitching her, and she just swung at everything. And I'm like, Bree, I was like, why did you just swing at that and that? She's like, Coach, my dad taught me to be able to hit everything. Great. I love it. You should be able to hit everything, but it doesn't mean you have to. It doesn't mean you have to, right? Think about it. If you're working 3-2, you are swinging at different things if you're 2-0, right? But how many times we practice 2-0, 3-2? Same thing with pitching. So here's what I've noticed with my pitchers. So I call the pitches. I'm very strategic in how I call. And so I have a system where if I call a pitch, if I tap my leg like once, like the catcher has to do what I do. So once is a little bit, we know the dimensions. If I hit twice, they're here. If I'm, blah, 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 okay? Here's what I've learned. Pitchers don't work on missing. They don't work on throwing 2 balls off the plate. You guys have been taught throw strikes, always throw. So I actually have some girls who throw too many strikes. And they get hit hard because they don't throw enough balls. Okay? So make sure our pitchers are actually working on, a curveball way out. Missing. You're 0-2. So pitchers, how many times do you work on 0-2? So it's how we give up 0-2 hits. The hitter is like, I'm hitting anything. And you're trained to not miss. That's why we give up hits. Does that make sense? Okay? So have a count, pitchers, hitters, have a count. Do we want to do a pause and check it? Yeah.